Welcome to beautiful Rochester, Minnesota, home of Mayo Clinic, and that's about it. That's all I know that it's here. So, we're a little behind. I had to travel, and so I don't think I had an upload yesterday because I was traveling. Today you get a bonus episode, or whatever you want to call it. One of my favorite people messaged me, and they linked an ad. This ad is promising you, that you can lose your dad bod if you buy these supplements, and, these supplements guarantee weight loss. Are you struggling to lose weight? Buy these supplements. And of course, he doesn't fall for that bullshit because you're smart and you don't fall for marketing bullshit. Every marketing thing out there, gain 20 pounds of muscle in 4 weeks. We've been over that. It just doesn't work that way. You know that there's some latest supplement. It's just not going to do what people say it's going to do. If it did, it would be illegal. I really mean that too. There were actually supplements that work, they get banned. You can look back through the days, GHB used to be available at GNC. Ultimate Orange had ephedrine in it, and DMAA. Pro Hormones, Superdrol. Superdrol is a fucking steroid, and that was available. People used to buy that over the counter. So these things get banned if they actually work. That's just the way things are. So the question is, though, and I get this question all the time, which is why I'm going to do a video on it. Are there any real solutions? And the answer is yes. Obviously, there's real solutions. The problem is that the real solutions, they aren't sexy. I can't sell you the real solutions in a pill. I can't sell you a bottle of here's an actual thing that works. But I will touch on a few things that do come in a bottle that may or may not be useful to you. So one of the things you may be aware of, and something for you to be cognizant of, is controlling your blood glucose. A lot of people, have pre-diabetes or full-blown type 2 diabetes. Their blood sugar is high. So you look at their fasting blood glucose, and in my opinion, anything over 90 is too high. I think that you really should be cautious as soon as you go over 100. That might as well be diabetes. But, if you're 124, you don't have diabetes, but if you're 125, you have diabetes. It's silly that we have this line, magically, one single point of up, and oh, now it's diabetes. But you didn't have it when you had 124, so it wasn't anything to worry about. Oh, you're 124, you're totally fine. 125, this is serious. It's ridiculous. And I'm not going to advocate for things like metformin because that's a prescription drug. So I'm going to point out to you some things. Berberine. Berberine is very well documented. It appears to lower blood glucose very effectively. If you are like me, don't take berberine. I will end up hypoglycemic if I take berberine. I feel terrible if I take berberine. So if you have low normal blood glucose, okay, I think my highest this past year was 82, taking berberine makes me go hypoglycemic and I feel like shit. Cinnamon. You can add cinnamon to your food as a spice, but I recommend you actually look into something called Ceylon cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is a better form of cinnamon. It doesn't have this... Fuck it, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. There's a chemical in cinnamon, if you get the cinnamon cassia or regular cinnamon, and that stuff's not good for you. It thins your blood, it can cause kidney damage, all kinds of stuff like that. So just go with Ceylon cinnamon, okay? I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word. I can spell it for you, but let's not even try to pronounce it. Point being, you're going to use Ceylon cinnamon, okay? Another thing to consider here is actually alpha-lipoic acid. Now, I have very mixed opinions on alpha-lipoic acid. It is an antioxidant. It's a very powerful antioxidant, and you might not want to use it around your workout. However, if you have type 2 diabetes, if you have really high blood glucose, it might be worth you using alpha-lipoic acid. If you have normal blood glucose, again, probably not worth you using these things, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, those are the ones that work the best. And I base that off of the fact that my grandfather was diabetic, and my dad was diabetic, and I have done a ton of blood glucose testing on myself. I test my fasting blood glucose on a regular basis, probably, 2 or 3 times a week. It's really easy. You just get a glucometer at Walmart and you can prick your finger and just take a blood sample. You don't have to go to the doctor to do that. These are the things that I have found that worked, okay? There's plenty of other things out there. People claim green tea and stuff like that. I've never seen any benefit from that. I don't care how much green tea you take. I'm not saying there's no benefits to green tea. I mean for lowering your blood glucose specifically. So there's probably like a million other benefits to green tea. We're talking specifically about lowering your blood glucose. So like I've never seen green tea lower my blood glucose. If it works for you, great. Like go with it. You know, test your blood glucose. If it does lower your blood glucose, this is good for you. For me, it's never moved it. I've tried, you know, for Scully. I've tried, like if you can think of it, I've tried it. It's like citrus bergamot, all these different things like that. I'm not saying these things are not useful for other things, but I am saying that they didn't change my blood glucose at all. Okay, so the things that I found that changed my blood glucose: berberine, too much, way too powerful for me. Cinnamon, I put cinnamon in my food anyways. So I like to put like Ceylon cinnamon in my Greek yogurt, or you know, sprinkle some Ceylon cinnamon into, you know, whatever I'm eating, bananas or something. I think cinnamon's great on apples. I like cinnamon, it tastes good. I like to season my foods. And alpha lipoic acid. And that's one, like I mentioned, I like it. I'm aware of the research on it. Some of it suggests that, you know, alpha lipoic acid might be too strong and it, you know, diminishes the benefits of exercise because you actually want some oxidative stress from exercise. Anyways, those are the things that I have found that work, okay? In terms of other things you might consider here, 5-HTP for some people lowers their appetite. I've never noticed any benefit from it. I don't notice a benefit from it for sleep either. I've tried 5-HTP because supposedly it will help you sleep better. Nothing. I don't feel any different on it. Might be helpful for you. Okay. Ginger. Roughly 2 grams of ginger taken with a meal does prevent the glucose spike. So unlike berberine, which like will lower your blood glucose, or you know, cinnamon or alpha lipoic acid, which will actually lower your blood glucose, I've never seen my blood glucose go down from ginger, but it does seem to blunt the spike. It's also good for your digestion. So if you're eating really spicy food and you have an upset stomach, ginger might be something for you to consider. Okay. Outside of that, there's a lot of stuff out there. You know, what is it, Cambodia, Garcinia, or something like that. Like, I don't really buy into that. I have never noticed any benefit from it. I think that's green coffee bean extract. I believe you should drink coffee, actually. I like coffee. You know, I'm not an anti-supplement person. I know, I bash supplements all the time because people turn to supplements as a solution. I'm a food-first person. That's what I am. So, like, instead of you taking vitamin C, like, eat an orange. Have a grapefruit. In fact, actually, like, you have high blood pressure, eat grapefruit. There's a reason why you can't eat grapefruit with your blood pressure medication. It'll lower your blood pressure too much, because it also does some really cool stuff with these liver enzymes. But eating grapefruit will lower your blood pressure. Okay, instead of you taking, you know, vitamin E or something, like choose foods that have vitamin E in them. Instead of you taking zinc, eat some oysters. You know, instead of you taking fish oil, eat some sardines. Okay, instead of you taking creatine, eat beef. So instead of you taking green coffee bean extract, just drink a cup of coffee, and don't fill it up with sugar and shit. Drink your coffee black. Yerba mate. I talked about this one before. Yerba mate is really cool. Everyone's into this thing called, you know, semaglutide. I don't recommend it. Looking at the research, if you are obese, if you have type 2 diabetes, then it probably is warranted for you, okay? But for a lot of these guys using it, there's a ton of bodybuilders using it because they're like, oh man, it makes me so nauseous that I can't eat. So it makes it like a perfect appetite suppressant. You know, it causes muscle loss. So I'm just not a fan of that. I feel like it's not worth it. Oh, it makes you nauseous. It makes you sick. Does it blunt your appetite? Great. But I feel like if you're a healthy individual, especially if you're an athlete or a bodybuilder, probably not a great choice for you. Just drink some yerba mate tea, okay? The Yerba Mate tea does the same thing with the GLP-1 thing. I think that that's a better choice. Mind you, if you are obese, okay, and you have type 2 diabetes, you're probably not going to see that muscle loss because you have enough body fat that when your body goes into a catabolic state, it's going to break down the body fat preferentially. I'm not seeing this massive muscle loss in people who are obese and then are also exercising. But yeah, if you're trying to get shredded stage lean, like, you're at risk of losing muscle anyways. Like, just the fact that you're in a caloric deficit and you're doing tons of cardio and you're like starving yourself lean, you're going to lose muscle anyway. So then if you throw a drug in that causes muscle loss on top of that, like metformin or like Ozempic, I don't think that that's a good combination for people who are athletic and actively in a very severe caloric deficit. This is not medical advice. This is just me suggesting to you as an athlete that maybe, like, drink some yerba tea. It's got the same effect on GLP-1. Something to think about. And then while you're at it, have a cup of green tea. Green tea is good for you. It has a whole bunch of other benefits, like anti-cancer benefits. And those are the things that I think work. Okay? In terms of, like, things that actually work, are there real solutions? Now, you already know this, and so, you know, here we go. We're getting into things that actually work solution. Okay? Outside of those supplements, outside of, you know, foods, outside of that stuff like that, you guys already know the answer. I'm not a calories in, calories out person. I'm not a count your macros person. I am a, I don't know what to even call it. It's not intuitive eating. It's, you know, I just have this simple belief, and I know it's radical. I know that I'm crazy for it. I know that I am absolutely hated for it, but I have this belief that managing your hunger is a major component of dieting. And everyone tells me that I'm an idiot. You know, I've had Layne Norton tell me, you're a moron if you think that hunger matters. You know, I've had Mike Dola tell me how stupid I am for thinking that satiety is something that's important. You know, I've had plenty of people lean into me and just tell me how dumb I am for thinking that ghrelin, leptin, food volume, satiety, hunger matter. But I'm not going to budge on it. So for any of you watching this video who don't like that opinion, just stop following my channel and unfollow me on IG, because I'm not going to change my opinion. I still think that satiety is a major component of dieting. And so, in my opinion, if you want to diet and you want to lose weight, you should eat foods that have high satiety. Eating chicken breast and broccoli is not magical, but it will make you feel full. You know, you eat McDonald's and you might feel full, and then 20 minutes later you're hungry again. You eat chicken, rice, and broccoli and you're full for like another 3 or 4 hours. You have a steak and a potato and you're like, if I eat steak and potato for dinner, I don't get hungry again. I go to bed. If I eat McDonald's for dinner, I'm gonna be hungry again. If I eat ice cream, like, yeah, you're full. And then like 30 minutes later, you're like, I could eat again. I think that, like, think about, you know how hard it would be for you to eat 2,000 calories of chicken breast? Like, just plain chicken breast. Now, how hard is it for you to eat 2,000 calories of Ben & Jerry's? 2,000 calories of cheesecake? Okay? Right there, I don't want to call it clean eating. It's not like that it's clean and dirty eating to me. It's high satiety foods versus low satiety foods. Have a salad. You want something great? You're feeling hungry? Take a cucumber and slice it up. And tell you what, because we're not going to add sugar, okay? I don't mind adding sugar. It doesn't bother me. I'm not opposed to sugar. You're going to sprinkle some stevia on it. A cucumber with some stevia on it, man, that tastes like dessert. It tastes really good. You can have Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is very, very satiating, okay? Greek yogurt is filling. It's got the protein. It's got, you know, the milk fat. It's got, you know, it's very, very filling. Do you want a solution? If you're not opposed to this, it's up to you. I can't handle food dyes. Red 40 makes me sick every time. Other colors don't, but red 40 definitely does, so I have to be very, very careful if I eat anything that has food dye in it. But you can take some Mio and put a couple squirts of Mio into your Greek yogurt, mix it in, it's fantastic. You don't like that? Put a scoop of whey protein in your Greek yogurt, mix that in. Okay, still don't like that? Torani. Torani makes a whole bunch of sugar-free syrups. You can put, you know, some vanilla Torani in your Greek yogurt, maybe add a little bit of stevia, mix it up, it'll taste like vanilla ice cream, okay? You have so many solutions these days. There are so many low-fat options if you're doing a low-fat diet. There are so many low-carb options if you're doing a low-carb diet. Whatever diet you're going with, because I am not someone sitting here telling you have to do keto to lose weight. I'm not telling you have to do low-carb to lose weight. I'm not telling you they have to do any of these things. But I am saying whatever diet strategy you're going with. So let's say you're doing keto. You have a ton of low-carb options. Like, they make Walden's syrups now. Walden's makes a whole bunch of different dressings even. Have a salad. That's still low carb. Like, do you realize how much, and like, I'm not telling you eat a salad, like just eat a head of iceberg lettuce. That's fucking gross. No. Have some lettuce, okay? And then make a real salad. Throw some cucumbers in, you know, throw some celery in, put some carrots in there, maybe some cabbage, some red onion, you know, like put something, arugula, like some spinach, like put something of substance into your salad besides just eating iceberg lettuce. You know, if you just have iceberg lettuce with Walden's ranch dressing, that's not going to be satiating. Put something else in there, and maybe throw some chicken on it, or a can of tuna. Now you have a protein source into it. It's going to be very, very filling. You eat the salad with protein, it's very filling. Eggs, hard-boiled eggs. I find hard-boiled eggs are very satiating. I can eat 4 of those for breakfast, and I'm good to go. Oh, you're doing, you know, low fat? Just don't eat the yolks then. Okay? You can peel a hard-boiled egg and just eat the white. And oh, you want carbs? Have an apple or 2. Okay? Have a banana. It's like, you know, these things are very filling, very satiating. No one sits down and eats 10 apples and goes, oh my God, I'm still hungry. But you can easily plow through a pint of Ben & Jerry's and still be hungry. You can easily eat a slice of cheesecake and still be hungry. You know, I can eat donuts, Dunkin' Donuts, and Krispy Kreme donuts. Man, I could easily eat 2,000 calories of donuts. It's not hard. Like, I'm not full. So, you know, a milkshake. You go to Wendy's and get a Frosty. Like, that's... You can have that on top of a burger and fries, and it still doesn't fill you up the way that, you know, eating vegetables does. You know, you have a nice piece of salmon with some asparagus and a side of cauliflower and, you know, I don't know, whatever else you want to have with this. Maybe you have a sweet potato or something. That's very filling. Go to Outback and get a prime rib, right? Get the prime rib and a sweet potato. Don't get the sweet potato with all the sugar in it. Just get the sweet potato. You're going to feel full. You ate a steak and a potato. You're going to feel full. You go to, I don't know, you know, whatever fast food joint people are going to these days. I keep bashing McDonald's, and it's nothing personal against McDonald's. It's just like the most common one. You see them everywhere. I don't care if it's Burger King or Wendy's, Arby's, whatever. You go there and you get the same number of calories of food. It doesn't hit you the same way. It doesn't make you feel full. And so I really do believe that the key to long-term success, like, are there any real solutions? Yes, there is. Change what you eat. Eat foods that make you feel full. Don't eat foods that leave you feeling hungry. I mean, I know, you know, it's like people that talk about how you eat Chinese food, and then a half hour later you're super hungry. Well, it's because of the MSG or something, right? I have no clue what it is, but I'll tell you this much. Yeah, like, if you want to gain weight, go to the Chinese buffet, and then you're hungry 30 minutes later. Like, Dave Tate talked about this. Do the opposite of Dave Tate's diet. Like, and he, mind you, he only did that for a short time. Let's not take that out of context. That was the J.M. Blakely thing that, you know, he gave him for a very short, you know, weight gain thing. Don't do that. You know that what I'm telling you is true. But whether or not you like me or not, and you think that I'm stupid for thinking that hunger matters, what I'm telling you is fucking true. If you're hungry all the time, you're going to break, you're going to eat. This is why people binge. People adhere to their diet and they starve themselves for 5 days straight. They get to the weekend and they binge. People starve themselves all day long and they get to the evening and they binge. There goes your caloric deficit because you got over hungry and so you binged. This is why I recommend that people eat every 3 to 4 hours. Not because it stokes the metabolism. There's nothing magical about you eating every 3 to 4 hours. The magic, if you will, is just simply that it keeps you from getting overly hungry so then you don't binge later. Your willpower runs out when you're super fucking hungry. Folks, let me tell you a couple stories here, okay? And I've done this more than a few times in my life. I've gone through survival courses where I didn't eat for a week or more. One of the survival courses I went through sucked so bad that I couldn't find anything to eat for 10 days straight. By the end of the 10 days, I would have eaten literally anything. Whatever you put in front of me, I would have been like, this is the best food I've ever had because I'm so fucking hungry, okay? So at the end of this whole thing, 10 days, no food, I still remember what they gave me. It was a cheese sandwich. It was 2 slices of bread with a slice of American cheese. It was probably Kraft Single in the middle. That is the best sandwich I've ever had in my entire life. Why? How can that be? That sounds disgusting. I would not sit down and eat a slice of Kraft cheese on 2 slices of white bread right now and be like, this is amazing. It's because I was so hungry, anything tasted good. If you starve and binge, you're going to starve, create a deficit, and then binge, and there goes your deficit, and now you're back in a surplus again. So eating frequently prevents you from getting over hungry. Eating foods that are filling prevents you from getting overly hungry. I really do think food volume matters. In fact, I tell people all the time, the secret to weight loss is to eat more. And people are like, oh, that's not true. It violates thermodynamics. And I'm like, no, I'm talking about volume. Eat more volume. Have strawberries, blueberries. It's mostly water, oranges. Apples. Eating fruit is filling because there's a lot of water in it. Watermelon. Do you realize how much watermelon you can eat? It's very filling. This is the real solution. The real solution is for you to change your food choices, eat things that are large in volume and low in calories. You'll be full. And the weird thing is that when you eat plain foods, like plain chicken breast and plain broccoli, you have this decrease in appetite over time. That's why low carb works so well. Low carb works great because you have less of an appetite. It decreases your appetite. That's really the real magic of keto and low carb. If you do it right, it decreases your appetite. So you spontaneously eat less without even having to track. Hunger and satiety. That's honestly the real solution. So there you guys have it. I hope this is helpful. I really do. If you have questions, comment below. I'm more than happy to go into more depth. But this is really how simple it can be.